So whenever the interviewer come and wanted to take her interview, they wanted to take the photograph of her at her working place. They always asked her to show her where you write your books. She said, I write anywhere. But then they asked, but surely you have a place where you always work. She said, I hadn't. All I need was a steady table and a typewriter. I had begun now to write straight on to the typewriter, though I still used to do the beginning chapters and occasionally others in longhand and then type them out. A marble top bedroom washstand table made a good place to write. The dining room table between meals was also suitable. She said ki no, I write anywhere, wherever I am not having a special place to write. Okay, all I need was a table and a typewriter. She began to write on the typewriter, though she used to do the beginning chapters in the longhand. Longhand is a freehand writing, and then she typed them out. Sometimes she write in a marble top bedroom also, and sometimes she typed in dining room table also between the meals. Wherever she want to write, she'll write. Nothing special. My family usually noticed a time of approaching activity by saying, "Look, Mrs. is broody again." Carlo and Mary always called me Mrs., supposedly in Peter the dog's language, and Rosalind too more often called me Mrs. than mummy or mother. Anyway, they all recognized the sign when I was broody, looked at me hopefully, and urged me to shut myself in a room somewhere and get busy. Here, broody means engaged in deep thought. So, when her family noticed her that she was thinking and she was in a deep thought, her kid, whenever she got engaged in deep thoughts, her kids, Carlo, Mary, Rosalind, they called her Mrs. Mrs. is broody now. Mrs. is broody now means mother is now engaged in her deep thoughts. So it's better to go shut yourself in a room and go and write there. Many friends have said to me, I never know when you write your books because I have never seen you writing or even seen you go away to write. I must behave rather as dogs do when they retire with a bone. They depart for an odd half hour self consciously with mud on their noses. I do much the same. I felt slightly embarrassed if I was going to write. She said her friends also told her that they don't know when she write her books because they had never seen her writing or never she has gone away from them to write. She said कि I behave like dogs when they do in their free time, whatever they do in their free time as they were playing with mud on their noses, the same way she behaves. She felt slightly embarrassed if she was going to write. Once I could get away, however, shut the door and get people not to interrupt me. Then I was able to go full speed ahead, completely lost in what I was doing. She said that she got whenever she was engaged in her thought that she want to write, she go to wherever she wants to write, and then she don't want people to disturb her. Thereon after that she was on full speed and then she was completely lost in her writing. Yes, she said actually my output seems to have been rather good in the years 1929 to 1932. Her output in the form of good works published in these years 1929 to 1932. Besides full length books, she had published two collections of short stories. Okay, beside writing full length books, now she started publishing short stories. One consisted Mr. Quinn stories. These are my favorite. I wrote one not very often at intervals, perhaps of 3 or 4 months, sometimes longer still. Magazines appeared to like them, and I liked them myself, but I refused all offers to do a series for any periodical. When she has written short stories, out of them one was of Mr. Quinn's stories. She also liked whatever she has written in the form of short stories, and it took a period of 3 to 4 months, and sometimes it took longer also. Magazine also liked them, and she personally also liked them, and she refused all offers to write the second part of the short stories. I didn't want to do a series of Mr. Quinn. I only wanted to do one when I felt like it. He was a kind of carryover for me from my early poems in the Harlequin and Columbine series. Mr. Quinn was the favorite of Agatha Christie, and that inspired her to write some more short stories. Okay, then Mr. Quinn. Mr. Quinn was a figure who just entered into a story, a catalyst no more. His mere presence affected human beings. There would be some little fact, some apparently irrelevant phrase to point him out for what he was. A man shone in harlequin colored light that fell on him through a glass window, a sudden appearance or disappearance. Always he stood for the same thing. He was friend of lovers and connected